So even after we understand each listening exercise inside out, we're still going to need to use our comprehension skills and practice until we have those techniques really well skilled. So the information in this section just helps you apply your comprehension skills more efficiently and effectively. But these are skills and they do need to be practiced. So let's start by talking about taking notes. And I'm really serious about note-taking for TOEFL listening. It's not just important to take notes as you listen, it is absolutely critical. Taking notes provides you with information to answer questions, and it helps you to record the listening exercise's structure if you write down the information in an organized way for the conversation in part 1, 2, and 3, and in the lecture, part 1, 2, and however many other parts. And recording that listening exercise's structure is critical for figuring out where to find information for answering the questions when you're looking at your notes later. You must write your notes in an organized way following the structure of a listening exercise. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible, or at least very difficult, to find in your notes the information you need to answer the questions. So firstly, what should you write in your notes for the campus conversation? Well, just like we've been following this structure before, it's the same. There is certain information you should listen for and take notes about in each section. In part 1, you should write down the student's problem or their information need. Write down why are they coming to the staff member, because we know 9 times out of 10 we're going to get a question about that, and 9 times out of 10 it's going to be the first question, a gist purpose question. In part 2, you're going to need to take most of your notes. You need to record firstly the staff member's solution or information provided to the student, and then you're going to need to follow the conversation to write down whether or not this solves the problem or provides necessary information for the student. Finally, in part 3, you must record what the student or staff member will do next. Remember, this information might not be present in the conversation. A lot of the time it is, sometimes it's not. So if you don't hear it, it might not necessarily mean that you missed it, they just may not have mentioned it. You don't always get a what will happen next detailed question. Now let's look at the college lecture. What should you write in your notes for the college lecture? Again, in each part, there's going to be some important information you should record. You should know now why in part 1 you should record the subject of the lecture, because very often that will answer the gist content question, which will very often be the first question you get after the lecture. As I mentioned before, you should write down any definitions, because you'll usually get questions about them or questions which need that information. And you should write down any structure information, because 9 times out of 10, that means you're going to get an information organization question, and that structure information will answer that question for you. In the next parts, you need to record topics and details such as facts, as I mentioned before, names, dates, events, processes, procedures, times, places. Development. This is when the lecturer goes into more detail to explain their ideas, usually using examples, illustrations, and explanations. And these are not difficult to identify, because the lecturer will usually identify them for you by saying, let me explain, let me give you an example, I'll give you an illustration. As I mentioned previously, you should be listening for any opinions or attitudes that the lecturer has on a topic and write them down, because yes, if you hear it, it probably means you're going to get a question about it. And of course, write down any information you hear about questions and answers resulting from lecturer-student dialogue.